Good evening. It's Friday night. Thank you so much for coming in. Thank you for those of you here on the replay. Of course, anytime you see something that you've got questions of that you've seen in the replay, you can send me a message on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook, where I'm also at CreativLEI. I also greatly appreciate your hearts for the broadcast anytime you're seeing something that is of interest to you or that you appreciate. Hello, happy Friday night. I very rarely get on a Friday night. Hey Kim, thanks for coming in. Maybe this is a good time. You guys are all jumping in. So I'm jumping on because Kara was just sharing for some people that are brand new to Periscope. She was trying to show them what Periscope is like. So you'll have to forgive my harsh lighting here. I'm at my desk and working on some stuff, and so I'm kind of at the mercy of the lighting that I have, but thankfully I'm not in a shadow, which is a good thing. So how has your week been? For those of you that are joining me for the first time, my name is Lisa. I blog at CreativLEI.com. And you can find me on most social media as CreativLEI. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all those good things. And Periscope is a place where I get to show you the full unedited versions of how we do life. My blog is looking at life creatively, and Periscope is just the unedited, fresh cut version of that. And so right now I am in the midst of preparing for my October series on the blog. I'm taking the Write 31 Days challenge, and this year what we'll be doing is 31 days to love your lettering. I do creative lettering and handwriting, and so I'm going to be sharing through the month of October some hand lettering tips and tricks and how to use certain pens. And you're going to join the challenge, Kim? I'm excited. And of course, Kim is local to me, so she could even pop over and we can do a live session, which would be awesome because Kim is right-handed and I'm left-handed. So definitely one of the challenges. Hi, Kara. Thanks for coming in. Kim is right-handed and I am left-handed, so I think it would be helpful for me to do a couple of live broadcasts with a right-handed person as well. It's funny for me because all over the internet I see lots of instruction and lettering techniques for right-handed people and very little instruction for left-handed. So I'm your lefty letterer that's going to bring you through the month of October, but hopefully I'll be able to answer any questions that you have for certain pens, and you'll just have to mirror some things. You're left-handed too. Awesome. Lefties are wonderful. And I'm going to be teaching techniques and things that are totally useful for lefties, because of course that's what I am, and I don't hold my pen. I definitely hold it differently. I know when I took calligraphy from a scribe in high school, she was right-handed, and it was a challenge for her to teach me because I did not hold the pen the way that she thought a left-handed person should. I don't do like the fold over. My wrist doesn't kind of, yeah, it's hard to explain, easy to show, which is one of the reasons why I like Periscope. For those of you that are brand new and that are just kind of peeking in to see what Periscope is like, that's kind of the beauty of this over other social platforms, is that there's this live interaction. So if you have a question for the broadcaster, you can ask it in the middle of the session and you kind of direct how the direction we're going in, which is wonderful, and it's something that the other platforms cannot boast at this time. So that's been the wonderful thing about Periscope and why I've continued to come back. I joined Periscope at the end of May, and the beginning was very nerve-wracking. I was not sure what I felt about live broadcasting. I'm definitely not usually comfortable speaking to large groups, and so I used to get stage fright anytime I started a broadcast. It's gotten a little bit easier now, but I definitely still think long and hard about it before I press that broadcast button. But I definitely encourage everyone to give it a try because it's a neat opportunity. Thanks, Kim. It does not feel natural to me. It's easier when people who I know are in the chat room. So that's kind of, that's there. So earlier this evening, I pushed publish on the blog post that has the shopping list for the October series. Let's see if let me pull it up so you guys can take a peek. So I kind of went through my my Amazon wish list and supply list that I have, and I tried to keep the list to a fair minimum because I know that you all know that any type of craft or creative outlet usually ends up costing a lot of money, and I'm trying to keep this budget friendly so that more people can participate. No problem. Thanks. I've appreciated, Kara. I really enjoy your encouragement also, and I'm glad that you're getting the word out about Periscope to more people, because I think that this environment is awesome. It definitely, for me, is more comfortable than some of the other social media because of the unedited version of it. I think we get to see more realness and authenticity, which is one of the things that draws me back. So I'm gonna flip the camera so that you can see. I'll do just a quick pass through of what's on the blog today. That way, if you have any questions about any of the products that I listed, I can answer them now. So I know looking at the computer screen is sometimes a little tricky. So let's see, I've introduced you guys to teach it in really easy terms. Yeah, I did post a what is Periscope and why do I need it not too long ago, a few weeks after I started using it, because I immediately saw the value of the platform and I thought that more people should get on it. So, of course, if you were with me the other day, the first supply, thank you, the first supply is a composition book that is quad ruled. And so this will be our workbook for the month, and I've done a title page on mine, and then that's a peek at what the first assignment is. We're going to be making an affirmation page and kind of permission to play and make mistakes and not have it be perfect. Several lettering style samples. Okay, well, I'm not going to give you too many peeks at this. This is what I'm working on. I'm actually going through the challenges now. Earlier today, I hopped on Periscope because I wanted you all to brainstorm with me. I've been going through what topics that we're going to cover during the month of October, and I've kind of broken it up. So the first week we'll be working with pencil and regular fine liner. Oh, great. So I'm glad that you were talking about my brainstorming, because I definitely I still have a couple of holes to fill. Yeah, I'm focusing the first week on, well, it's actually a little bit more than a week, regular handwriting and using the fine liner pen. And then each weekend, the assignment will be to find inspiration, either on Pinterest or in a magazine, and then to letter a quote using the techniques that we've learned in the previous week. So the first week is fine liner, the second week is a calligraphy pen, the third week will be a brush pen, and then the final week is going to be color and pulling it all together. And so that's where you'll see I have more blanks in there because I'm trying to figure out the different combinations that you all would like to see combined, and some kind of answering the tips and tricks. So 3 ideas towards the end show us samples and styles. All right, so if you look at my title image, this actually incorporates some of the things that we'll be using. Oh, you like the idea of the resist? Yeah, it's actually another pen which I did not put on the shopping list yet, but since that's at the end, that will be fine. So here we have, this is regular handwriting that's been kind of bumped up a notch. So thank you. That will be flourishes, and this is brush lettering, and we're going to be talking about flourishes after we introduce you to the brush pen. This is also a brush pen, but it's more of just regular handwriting with a little bit of flair. So I'm excited to teach people how to use the brush pen, because I think this is one of the greatest inventions. I learned how to do copperplate calligraphy with a pointed pen, and it's hard. It's tricky. You use ink or you use gouache, and it skips and everything. And these brush pen markers are just fabulous because you get all the look without the skipping. So it's hard for me to talk and write at the same time because then I'll write the wrong thing. So this is the Pentel Sign Pen brush pen. So that was a new one that I just recently got, and I found that at Michael's. But prior to that, and what I normally recommend is the Tombow brush pens. They're the, and I'm not going to say it right because I don't speak Japanese, but they're called the Fudenosuke, I believe. So this is, and it's a little shaky because I've got the phone in one hand and the pen in the other. But you'll see this is actually the hard nib brush pen, so you end up getting an even finer line on the upstrokes. So it's one of the reasons why I absolutely love that pen. And then of course pulling out traditional calligraphy pens also, and you know, of course I'm showing you letter forms, but when we go through the 31 days, we're actually going to be going back to doing the basics, and so how each of these shapes and learning these shapes in the different pens is going to get you to the lettering, because you don't just start there, you start at the basics. So we're going to go through the whole month of, you know, learning different techniques and like how to hold. This is a this is the Pigma Calligrapher by Sakura, and this is a nylon tip, where most of the calligraphy markers I've used before have been felt tip, so you have to be a little more careful with them because you can ruin the tips very easily. So the nylon tip is actually pretty sturdy, and I'm going to try and hold this. And so the tip with this is holding it at the 45-degree angle, and I'm getting used to these. These are brand new pens, so I haven't really broken them in yet. But you can see, like, you don't have to do formal calligraphy. You can do regular handwriting and, you know, make it look fun. And then we're going to talk about adding different flourishes, and I need to get used to these pens. I typically use the Zig calligraphy marker, which is not on my desk right now, and we're also just going to be using regular pencil, because when you learn the brush lettering, it's all about the pressure that you use. Yeah, the brush pens are definitely my favorite. They're the ones I use most often in my Bible journaling too. So let's see, let me pull something out because you probably want to see some samples of finished works. So I use a traveler's notebook system both for my planner and also for my Bible study. So let's see. So you'll see this is brush calligraphy done with a brush pen, and then we've got just regular writing with a fine liner. So also the combination of the brush lettering and fine liner, and then just, you know, kind of adding embellishment to regular handwriting, you know, kind of making bolder letters. You kind of weight the downstrokes is the trick there, and doing all little doodling. So, but really my purpose of the October series is to build your confidence in your own handwriting. Yeah, the brush pen always wins for me too, because it does not take a lot of work to make it look great. And you don't even have to do it in the script. You can do brush pen for print also, and it looks great. Hey Tina, thanks for joining. I hopped on, Kara was giving an introduction to Periscope to some friends, and so she wanted to be able to show them a broadcast, so I hopped in and I'm giving just a little peek. We were talking more about the lettering. Yes, this is actually this journal is actually using the Journal and Doodle Bible Studies from Carrie Danker, and she's from Stone Soup for 5. And I've previously scoped about these. They may be in Catch. It might be. It might not be, because it might have been from my first few months. But I love these studies because It's not a fill-in-the-blank study. What it does is it brings you through an overview of reading, and then it kind of brings you step by step on how to pull out the truths for yourself. And she also gives doodling tips. But it's not, you're not confined to someone else's doodles. You kind of stone soup for 5. Yeah. So I like that she just kind of gives you kind of guidelines, and not exactly what you should be writing, but looking to pull those truths out yourself. So I'm finishing up the Galatians study. I highly recommend it. If you subscribe to Carrie's blog, you will get Ephesians as a free for the email. So I totally recommend trying that out, because it's really been a fun journey for me. I don't have my first one. Let me pull out. Let's see. I also journal right in my Bible. So I didn't mean to stay on long, but I love doing show and tell type stuff. So, and these are kind of like the things that, if we were meeting for coffee, we could share over coffee. And as I was saying before, that's kind of one of the benefits of Periscope, being able to kind of switch gears as needed during the broadcast. So this is an example of some lettering and doodling right in the margins of my Bible. Of course, if you were to look on Instagram or things, you will find lots of examples of Bible art journaling. However, I do not like to cover the text. I do use keyword symbols in my Bible studying, but I don't like my artwork to cover the text. So I do kind of keep it to the margins. So these were all through Genesis. And usually what I will do is just kind of make my notes that help me pull out the truths from what I'm reading. Not necessarily illuminating the verses, which I do love to do, but that's not my purpose of using the journaling Bible. I like to illuminate verses as standalone prints, but my journaling Bible, I purchased it from Amazon. It is the ESV single column journaling Bible from Crossway Books. So there it is, Crossway. And I believe they're back in stock. They were out for a while because lots of people have jumped onto the Bible journaling bandwagon, which is great because I think more people are getting in touch with the Word than have been for a while. And so, there's no problem. You write the things that are happening in the family sport. Yes! My purpose for this is to hopefully someday for this to be a legacy Bible for my children, and I'm certain I'll have to do more because I do have 6 living children in my house, and so I don't want them to think that this is only for one of them. But I just like to pull out the points that I find through reading that I would want them to see the truths that I was discovering through my reading and let them compare that to what they find. So not fancy art, even though I am a trained artist. My Bible is not really the place where I'm looking to showcase that. So I like to just use it. I do a little bit of doodling and a lot of lettering, but I like to keep it really simple so that I'm still concentrating on the written word, not necessarily my words. So this was points that I got from the IF gathering in 2015, which was awesome, and I'm glad they released the date so I can mark them for 2016. So this page was used in one of my recent posts when I was talking about quitting homeschooling. So that's how I add lettering. So that's most of the art in here I would consider lettering art. So there's a little bit of drawing, a little bit of color, but nothing that blocks the text out, because I don't want to block the text. I want to be able to read everything in context. So there you have it. I do use a concordance when I'm doing in-depth word studies, but I do not read Hebrew, so I have to rely on the concordance for that. So yeah. So there's a little peek at some of my lettering and some of the lettering that we're going to be covering in the October series. I would love to have you join me. I'll be posting daily on the blog the different tips, techniques, and assignments, and then I'll be hopping on Periscope during the month also, so that I can show live tutorials of the lettering I'll be doing. You're welcome. Thanks for the invitation to do so, Kara. It's been my pleasure. And then I'm looking forward to giving you guys feedback. Excuse me. Sorry. Giving you guys feedback as you work through the assignments. If you tag me on Instagram or post them on Facebook and tag me, I'd love to take a look at your lettering and help you if there's any point of the letterings that's getting you stuck, and I can give you a tip to help you get past that block. I'm looking forward to that too. Thank you, Kimmy. I'm looking forward to joining you guys this coming month, and got to get all those posts written for you girls. And thank you so much for tuning in. I know this is kind of late for those East Coast girls, unless you're a night owl like me. I've appreciated the hearts and the shares. Thank you for inviting your followers. Of course, this replay will be available here on Periscope for the next 24 hours and also on catch.me/CreativLEI. It'll be up there also. During the month of the lettering tutorials, when I film the broadcasts on Periscope, I will then go ahead and embed those into the applicable blog posts so that when people go back on that, they'll see the post. But of course, joining live to answer your questions is always your best bet. So I hope you guys have a great weekend. Thanks for tuning in. If you have any more lettering questions or suggestions that you want to see me cover during the month of October, I would love your feedback. You can put it in here in the comments. You can send me a message on Twitter or Facebook, and I would love to work that with you guys. Thanks so much for tuning in.